in and everything.
Okay.
See what's going on. Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning. I want to make sure. Let me check. I'm going to check the debt-free lounge. Good morning. As you all come in, just go ahead and let us know that you're here. This is Wisdom and Wealth Wednesday. Good morning, everyone. We're excited. We have a guest speaker, a guest financial expert today, and I'm excited and cannot wait to get started. But I want to make sure that the debt-free lounge is also on board with us, so bear with me. Okay, and it has not populated, but I will make sure that I send it over. Hope you all are having a great day. I am going to be looking at a couple of the areas so I can make sure that I get all of your comments, and so that Robin will be able to, oops, I told you. No, I'm just kidding. You can see her there. So that Robin will be able to answer your questions. So bear with me just a second. I'm giving you the opportunity to get on as well. I've got 3 different pieces of technology. Technology is great. All right, there we are. And I'm just going to share this to the debt-free lounge because there we go. Okay. All right. So good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is time for us to get started. In fact, and I want to make sure that our guest financial expert has all of the time that she needs in order to give you the information that you need. You're going to really enjoy and become so knowledgeable about the information that is shared. Let me just introduce our guest financial expert today. To some of you who will be viewing with us or replaying this probably already know who she is, especially our Grove family out in Virginia knows her well. She's a servant in the kingdom of God as well. But Robin Wilson is a vice president and team leader of a Virginia bank. And she's been in this industry for over 35 years. She served in several capacities, such as a lending officer. She is an underwriter. She served as charitable contributions manager, special assets manager. She does community service as well. She helps to empower the Alpha sorority. She targets building your economic legacy, and it emphasizes on financial planning, asset accumulation, and wealth building, including savings and investments, managing debt, and improving credit. She has a plethora of knowledge, you guys. And so I'm glad that she said yes when she was invited to come on with all of the other wealth builders. And I have to say, and I hope that I just have to say, I'm glad she said yes to becoming an admin of Live My Life Debt Free, which what she's doing now is she agreed to help to empower wealth builders all over the country, all over the world, because Live My Life Debt Free is an international organization. So thank you, Robin, for being here today. And thank you for saying yes to work with Live My Life Debt Free, or volunteer, to give your time,
Yes, thank you.
knowledge, to the generational wealth builders. So I'm just going to ask you the question, or just say, to the wealth builders, have you ever had a question about should you pay your mortgage off early? If you've had that question, you're not alone. I know that there's so many individuals, so many homeowners who's often ask themselves, should I pay off my mortgage early? What's the benefit? What's the disadvantage? What's the advantage? Well, Robin is here to share that with us today. And I'm going to cue her up. While I cue you up, Robin, to go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here and welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I consider it a privilege and an honor to be here on this morning to share with the people. I have a love for God's people and people in general, and I just want to share with them. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to share today.
Awesome. Well, I know that. That's why you are here. I know that you're serious about, doing the work of the Lord and that you do love serving people. And I'm excited to be able to serve alongside of you. So I'm going to give you the floor. Just go ahead and just share the information that you're here to share with us today.
Okay. Well, I'm going to share my screen. So hold on one moment.
Right ahead.
Okay. Can everyone see that screen, Chris? Can you see that?
Yes, it's
Okay.
perfect.
Again, good morning, everyone. And I know, a lot of folks have had this question as a top of mind for them. And even during the time of this pandemic, it is something we still need to consider because we're going to come out of the pandemic and prayerfully we'll come out, stronger spiritually and physically and with more knowledge. So I thank you for joining us this morning. And I'm going to go ahead and get started on should I pay off my mortgage early? The first thing you need to consider is, does it make financial sense for me? There are a lot of things that we encounter daily. And, from a financial perspective, we need to think about, does this make sense? And one of the things that we need to consider is whether we should pay off our mortgage or should we invest? And in doing that, you have to consider your risk versus the rewards. As we do every day, we consider the risk associated with decisions as well as the reward.
I like that. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you. And so you could take the cash you plan to pay off your mortgage and invest it. However, if you invest in the stock market, you could lose it. And these things you need to consider. If you could invest in the real estate, such as multifamily real estate, like apartments or single family homes that have the potential to offer higher long-term returns. However, if the real estate market turns as it did in 2018, then you could possibly lose. So even after paying off your mortgage early, real estate prices could plunge, leaving you with a potential loss. So again, we have to look at the risk versus the rewards. And in the end, carefully consider which one you're willing to take. The pros and cons of paying off your mortgage early. Some of the pros: it eliminates your monthly amount going towards your mortgage, which is really important as you approach retirement. You could save money on interest, potentially thousands of dollars. Enjoy peace of mind, knowing that you're out of debt, which I know is really important for me. I sleep really well at night, knowing that the only debt I have right now is my mortgage. So it does help me to sleep at night. And it's possible to tap the equity in your home if you need it later. So those are some of the pros. Some of the cons: could tie up a good chunk of your liquidity. And liquidity is money that you have available that you can get to very quickly in case of an emergency. So it would be like money in a CD. It could be money in stock. Now with CDs, you may have a CD that's 90 days to a year. So there may be a penalty, but at least you can get to it quickly if you need it. If you've been taking the mortgage interest federal tax deduction, you're no longer eligible. But we also know that the standard deductions for taxes have really increased. So a lot of folks don't even itemize anymore. But that is something that you need to look at if you're still able to itemize. It can be difficult to sell the home quickly if you lose your job or if there's an emergency and you need money fast. You miss out on the potential for higher returns from other investments. And lastly, if the real estate market drops just when you need to sell, you may not realize as much from your home as you had hoped. Okay, so those are some of the pros and the cons on paying your mortgage off early. Again, some things to consider before paying off your mortgage. If you decide that it makes sense for you to pay off your mortgage, be careful not to put other financial goals at risk. If you have a goal to pay off all of your debt, like credit cards, car loans, those things, keep doing that. And I would, as I state here, so before putting money into paying off your mortgage, get rid of that other debt first. A lot of that debt is high interest debt, and doesn't add any value. You're not spending that on depreciable assets. They're all depreciable assets like cars and things like that. So you want to pay off that debt first for personal loans, car loans, credit card debt. Make sure you're investing for retirement. When deciding whether to pay off the mortgage or invest, don't forget to consider retirement. Make sure you're putting money into a tax advantage retirement account like a 401k or IRA first. If your company offers a match, take advantage of it and work on building your nest egg. And having a good retirement account on top of having your house paid off by the time you retire can be a good combination. Okay. You want to build up an emergency fund. And with Financial Peace is one of the programs developed by Dave Ramsey. And he talks about building an emergency fund, how it should be at least $1,000. So you want to make sure you have at least $1,000 in case of a financial pinch. You know, if you need money really quick, then you will have that $1,000 in the bank. You want to work on other goals. You may have other financial goals like purchase a car or saving for a child's education. Make sure you're on track for those goals first as well. Something else is to consider is refinance. Think about refinancing your mortgage to a shorter term, such as switching to a 15-year loan from a 30-year loan. You'll have higher payments each month, but it's a way you can save on interest and still be out of debt sooner. You can consider making biweekly payments. And one way to get started with making extra mortgage payments is to set up a biweekly schedule. And this amounts to making a full extra monthly payment each year and can reduce the time spent with a mortgage. Starting with biweekly payments can help you get ahead of your mortgage while allowing you to keep working towards other financial goals. And lastly,
So Robin,
yes, ma'am.
oh, I'm sorry. I want to ask you a question right there because I get that question often, and I think that it really will help, you know, others to really hear this again, because it's been a long time. But biweekly payments, sometimes, you know, just making that one extra payment per year, so it doesn't seem like it really will make a difference. Can you share, you know, what kind of difference, you know, in the way of interest, in the way of the term, how does it actually help again? Can you just go through that one more time?
Sure. So first of all, as far as your interest is concerned, you're going to end up paying less interest in the long run because you're going to be paying more towards your principal every time you make a bi-weekly payment. And we're going to talk more about how to make those payments and how to contact your financial institution to do that. And in some literature that I've seen, it can take almost 8 years off of your mortgage payment.
Wow.
So definitely something you can consider. Right. Just in principle. That's right. Yep. So thank you, Christy. You want to check for prepayment penalties with your financial institution as well. Check with them to see if you pay off early, if there's a penalty. And so we want to make sure, you know, you don't incur any extra charges as a result of paying your mortgage off early. Okay. And as Dave Ramsey, who's the author of Total Money Makeover and Financial Peace, he advocates for paying off your home early. And he also states that you should first invest 15% of your income for retirement before you work towards paying off your mortgage. So you don't want to, you know, get to the, you know, retirement and not have a retirement fund or a way to kind of not finance but support your lifestyle into retirement. Okay. So if you decide that it does make sense for you and you want to pay off your mortgage early, how do you do it? And one way to pay off your mortgage early is by adding an extra amount to your monthly payment. And how much you should pay, well, you know, you'll need to determine that. And there's an internet site called Nerd's Wallet that I found that will help you determine that amount and how much it should be. A structured way to add extra is divide your monthly principal payment by 12 and then add that amount to each monthly payment. And you can end up making 13 payments instead of the required 12 payments every year. You could deposit 1/12 of the monthly principal payment to a savings account each month and then use that money to pay a 13th payment. You can make bi-weekly payments as we noted previously, and again, we'll talk some more about that. You can make a lump sum payment towards the principal. You might do this after receiving a bonus, inheriting money, or receiving other windfalls. And I know I get excited when I get my bonus every year. And then I had to remind myself of my goals. I don't want to go out and buy, a car or, clothes or shoes or all those things that we all love, right? So I just, kind of take a step back and say, okay, we have this windfall and I'm grateful for it. I thank God for it. But how can I use it in, either advancing God's kingdom or reducing my debt, or a combination of both? And I don't know, this just occurred to me. I don't know how many folks actually do this, but I'm a believer that you need a tithe on your bonus as well, not just your regular income, but your tithing. And it is the gross amount of your bonus and not the net. So
Absolutely.
I'm a firm believer. Yes, I'm a firm believer of that, because I've seen God just do so many things as a result of being obedient. So I would encourage you to do that as well. And you could refinance to a shorter term, as we noted previously, from a 30-year mortgage to a 15-year. So how do you set up biweekly payments? Okay, you locate the principal interest portion of your payment on your monthly statement and simply divide that number by 2. And for example, the principal interest portion of your payment is $1,500. Your biweekly mortgage payment is $750. Don't forget to include the tax and insurance portion of your payment each month. And then you need to find out how or if your mortgage company handles biweekly mortgage payments. Some lenders will process biweekly payments, while others refuse to accept partial payments at all. In any case, do not pay a fee to initiate a biweekly mortgage plan. I've been in banking for over 35 years. I don't pay fees on anything. So I would encourage you, please do not pay any fee for some, to get a biweekly mortgage plan. Now, it does help that I work for a bank, and and employees get free free accounts and things like that. But there are other, banks for regular consumers. You can get things that are free. So just kind of, you just may have to search around and dig, but you can find that. If your lender isn't open to biweekly payments, open a bank account exclusively for your mortgage payment. Deposit your half payment every 2 weeks and use that money to make your full mortgage payment, either by check or automatic payment on every second deposit. So those are just some tips there on how to set up a biweekly payment. And as Chris stated, and we shared earlier, that you will see a significant drop in your interest that you pay, as well as possibly take 8 years off of your mortgage. Okay. Do I pay off my mortgage early? In the end, use your God-given wisdom when making any major financial decision. Okay. And Chris, if I could, I don't know how many people are actually on the line or we can hear from, but I thought it would be interesting to hear from folks that maybe have paid off their mortgage, how they did it, and if you've considered paying off your mortgage but changed your mind. So can we hear from anybody at this point?
I'm watching the comments, so it is a short, it's a short, a little bit of a delay. So if they, I'm sure they heard your question. How many of you have paid off your mortgage, or what was the second part of your question?
And how did you do it?
Okay. How did you do it if you paid off your mortgage?
Mm-hmm.
How about how many of you are in the midst of paying off your mortgage as well, and really like the idea of the biweekly mortgage that Robin mentioned? So you can continue, and as they come, as the comments come, then I'll share it with you.
Okay. And that's what I have. And then my sources were bankrate.com and NerdWallet, all on the internet, and as well as experience that I've had in the industry. So
awesome.
So thank you so much for the time. And again, we can entertain any questions that folks have.
Keith, you said by renting, you paid off your mortgage. Can you explain?
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I'm trying to. So I'm looking for a. I'm just waiting on his response.
Okay. I will say that I've had some folks that I'm aware of, and I just spoke with a young lady yesterday I used to work with. Mm-hmm. What she did, she would she's getting ready to pay off her second house. They do have rental property. Mm-hmm. And when they sell their rental property, they take the proceeds to pay towards their mortgage.
Oh, okay.
And they
Oh,
continue to do that. Is that
I
what he's
think that
talking about?
might be, he said yes. He said yes. He's driving. So Brother Keith, we don't want you to, yeah, I know you're using a voice text. So, but that's good. We've got it. I believe Robin hit it right on the nail. He said rent my house. Okay. Yeah. So
Yes.
he paid it off by renting his house. Thank you, Brother
Right.
Keith. Stay
Yes,
safe.
I've definitely heard of that, which ties back into, investing in real estate, which I mentioned, as, a risk versus a reward. Would you rather, pay off your mortgage or invest in real estate? And like he's doing both, right? So he invests in real estate
Which is
and he
powerful.
rents it out. And then, he either use the rental income or
Mhm.
he can sell it and use the proceeds to pay down his mortgage early.
Awesome.
And as far as the real estate thing is concerned, they're not building anymore, not adding any more land to this earth, right?
That's
So
right.
I would definitely hold on to like home homesteads is what I call them. Like we have, a few in our family where our grandparents were, homes they had. Don't be so quick to sell them. Hold on to them, renovate them, rent them. That can be a good source of income and retirement, as
Mhm.
well as applying it towards income to pay off your mortgage as you approach retirement, or even in, if you're a young millennial who wants to pay off their mortgage. That's not saying you have to have a mortgage. You can pay it off, in your 30s or 40s, and not wait till you're in your 50s and 60s as you approach retirement.
That's good. That's good. So let me just ask you a question concerning you mentioned renting. You mentioned purchasing or not paying off your home. At a later time in life.
Hmm.
Would you, if it's, let's say somebody has a starter home
Hmm.
or their first time home buyer,
Hmm.
would you recommend that they pay that particular home off, like put all of their money into paying off like their first home that they purchase? I mean, as if it's not like a forever home
Hmm. Hmm.
or a rent
I
to retirement.
I think that one could possibly use as a rental, right? So I
Mhm.
don't know if I would be rushed, to pay it off. You if they want to move, to get another home with their forever home, I would encourage them to rent out that property and go
Mhm.
ahead and acquire a second one.
Yeah.
But also I want to encourage them to invest. I remember when I started out in banking many years ago, we always heard about, 401ks and putting your money into these accounts and allowing the banks or allowing your company to match them.
Mhm.
And, I didn't get the message, early on, but about 3 years into banking, I was like, oh, that really makes sense. So where I'm going is that we have to have that balancing act, right? We want to invest and get ready for retirement, as well as, pay off our mortgage if we can.
Mhm.
But if I would say probably the first home, I would recommend renting that one. If you can afford to do it, you would rent the first one and then go ahead and acquire your second one. That way you have an investment property that you can have income from. Because we really should work on having multiple sources of streams of income, and not just one.
Right, right. Absolutely, I agree. Okay, so as we wrap up, if you can, oh, I was going to say if you can bring me back on, but I'll bring myself.
Oh, you want me to stop sharing my screen? I can stop sharing.
It's okay.
I can stop sharing.
Um,
There we go. There we go.
I mean, I'm asking you to do something I could do, but like I said, I'm in training with this Apple product and with Zoom. This is actually my second Zoom interview. Not the first one, not the second one altogether, but
Right.
just Zoom and streaming over on Facebook. I think it's awesome.
Hmm.
Um, and we're going to be doing a lot more of it because, there's, more people that we need to reach and the quality as well, of sharing. So I have a question. If you're retired, should you worry about paying off your mortgage?
Hmm. I would say I would not if you're retired. I think your retirement income should be focused on supporting your lifestyle during your retirement. That is your priority.
Mhm.
So I would not go. And Christine, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think I would have to agree with you there, especially if they are if they already have, if they've already planned well for retirement, and if that's not eating away, I mean, if it's eating away at their retirement, more than likely they wouldn't be able to pay it off. But if they, I just don't, I mean, if there's a really good reason for wanting to do that, I would recommend it. Otherwise, I would have to agree with you. Live your life, just continue to make your payment, and if you have everything else in order, all of your other finances are in order, are you debt free? As Robin said, and I really agree with that. Another thing that I've said before in workshops is that if you have a savings and you are strapped, you are in debt up to your neck, then that's like not a good deal. You really need to get yourself out of debt before you really start, and this is just me giving my opinion about it.
Right.
But if you're in debt and you have a savings, you have to think about that. Why? Because I think Robin mentioned earlier about the interest rates and things of that nature. You're paying a higher interest rate on the debt than you are actually earning on the money that you have in savings. So the same thing with with your retirement. If you are retired and you have planned well and you don't have any intentions on moving, or you don't have another great reason for paying off that mortgage, I would definitely do what Robin suggested. I would just sit, I just be still and just pay the mortgage, enjoy your life.
That's right.
And you can take your overhead, reinvest. Oh, okay. Brother Keith Brown was just saying that he can take the overhead. You can take your overhead and reinvest. So I'm thinking that he said, rent his property, rent your property and hold on to it for as long as you can. And then take the overhead, or I guess maybe the excess.
That's what I'm thinking, probably the excess, and pay off the mortgage.
Pay off,
that makes
so
sense.
This has been great, and I'm sure for those who are going to replay this, please post your questions, and Robin will be right there to answer your questions. She can see the questions as well. And I really, really appreciate everyone for taking the time. This is quite a few people at this time of the morning, that signed on, and then others I know in the Debt Free Lounge will be able to post questions as well, and others who are going to replay this evening and so on. And they just do. Just yesterday there were so many views of just a preview. So I know that there's a great interest. I appreciate your knowledge and expertise, your professionalism, and more than anything, your love for God and his people. I mean, and you have really, though I don't think that I really have thought deep enough about the 8 years. You really struck a chord that made me really want to, even revisit that biweekly mortgage, because I don't think that many homeowners know, if they've been in their home 22 years, if they had been, paying biweekly, they would have their mortgage paid off at 22 years. Does that make sense if they started early but it's never too late.
Right, that's right. Never too late.
Yeah. So thank you. Any last words? I'm gonna leave that to you. Leave you with last words. If you have anything more to say, anything else you want to say?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to receiving questions from folks. So thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. And listen, Generational Wealth Builders, thank you for being here. All of the brand new Live My Life Debt Free Generational Wealth Builders, welcome. You all can find Robin right on Facebook, and you can definitely leave your questions in the Live My Life Debt Free or the Debt Free Lounge, either community. She is an admin. She can get to it. She can answer your questions. So that's it. Wisdom and Wealth Wednesday. Should you or should you not? Or what are the disadvantages and the advantages of paying off your mortgage? Robin has given you all of the tools that you need, all of the information. And we really thank you, Robin, once again for being with us. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. Come back with us next Wednesday, right here for Wisdom and Wealth Wednesday. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.